Could Matt Allan be a future ace for the New York Mets? Is JT Ginn going to crack the rotation by the end of the 2022 season? We discussed those things on one of the latest episodes of Locked On Mets, and here is my conversation with Aram Leighton as we went through the promise of Ginn and Allan for the Mets moving forward.
You are Locked On Mets, your daily New York Mets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This draft is going to be huge for the Mets. They're going to have 6 picks in the top 100. As you said, if they're going to be a really good team moving forward, they got to maximize this upcoming draft. And one of the areas they really have to look at is pitching because, I could rattle off the names: Justin Dunn, Simeon Woods-Richardson, Anthony Kay, Kevin Smith. They've traded so many starters over the last couple of years. And that also puts a ton of pressure on the 2 prospects you have in the top 10, JT Ginn and Matt Allan. Let's start with Allan since you just mentioned him. You really like his stuff. We haven't seen much of him. He had Tommy John in May, I believe. So this next year, probably not going to see too much of him either. But he is the one prospect in the Met system that has that frontline potential.
Totally. You got it right there. I was watching some. I've seen this a few times, but every time I watch it, it's more impressive. Some ABs from spring training just before he went down, going against Schwarber, Starlin Castro, and I forget who the other guy is, but just nasty, like just disgusting. And you could see big leaguers uncomfortable with this stuff. The fastball's got so much life to it. His curveball is gross, and the changeup already flashes above average to plus. So you've got a legit 3-pitch mix there that looks to have the bones to be big league caliber. And it's just a matter of the command. And, he's an athletic pitcher that I think will be able to develop that command. And to me, if it weren't for the injury, he would almost surely be in the top 100 list. He's going to be a guy that I think makes up for lost time pretty well. And I'm not really worried about long-term health. He's 6'3", 225. Again, the mechanics are pretty effortless. And the 3-pitch mix should translate. This is going to be a really, really good pitching prospect for them. And no matter what, I would not trade this guy. You got to find a way to make it happen in any other way because Allan's like your one dude, like you said right now.
Yeah, I put him as untouchable as Alvarez. Not that I would say they're the same level of prospect, but because of where the Mets farm system is, you got to hang on to Allan. And honestly, you almost have to hang on to Ginn too, because again, you just don't have a lot coming up. The Mets were lucky last year to sort of hit on Tyler McGill, but who knows how great he's going to be in the next couple of years. He was decent. So, they need some young starters. And I think when you're looking at the next 2 years, the one that could have some impact is Ginn. What do you think about him? I know that his ceiling isn't the highest, but the floor seems to be pretty high with this prospect.
Exactly. And that's good to have guys like that, especially when you're so in need of pitching prospects through your system. Ginn's a guy with a heavy fastball, low 90s, but has that sink. He gets a ton of ground balls, and that's kind of what helps the floor. He has good command of a heavy fastball at the bottom of the zone. Then he has a slider that is his best pitch. That pitch works well off of the running fastball, kind of opposite actions. And those 2 pitches ticked up a little bit as the year went on, and that's how he started to get more swing and miss. That was a big key for him. And that was really encouraging because you saw early on it was like pitch to contact. And as you climb, those guys sometimes will struggle because the hitters get better and the contact gets harder. He was able to rack up more swing and miss. He's being able to get that early weak contact, though, is something that I think will help him go deeper into games. I want to see him develop that 3rd pitch a bit more. And I wouldn't mind seeing a 4-seamer that he could mix in up in the zone, just because right now everything's bottom 3rd, right? You're going heavy fastball, which is bottom of the zone. You go slider, which is typically bottom of the zone, and then a changeup, which is typically bottom of the zone. So you're allowing hitters to eliminate one region. He's able to get away with that right now. I'm interested to see how that develops. But in terms of who he is, when you're getting a ridiculous ground ball rate, I think near 60% like he is, and not a negligible amount of swings and misses, that kind of combination always gives you a really good chance to at least be a back-end starter. But I wouldn't rule out him being an average number 3, but I think more than likely he's a number 4 type, which you can't have enough of those guys in terms of starting pitching depth.
Yeah, and I also think, you said that how things kind of ticked up for him as the season went on. He was coming off Tommy John surgery too.
Hmm.
So, that's a big thing to note as he is now going into his next first full year completely removed from it. Should have, a pretty wide leash to go, a lot of starts and build up that strength, and we'll see what happens this year. He's going to be the one pitcher I think Mets fans have to be watching throughout this year in the minors.
Yeah, he's a guy that could climb, pretty quick. And that's the thing is it was really health dependent, right? But we saw, as you mentioned, he got better and better and healthier and more lively as the year went on. This is a guy that's probably going to start the year in Double A next year. And if he throws well, if the Mets need somebody in a pinch towards the end of the year, it's not impossible that we see him up by the end of the year. I mean, I would lean towards 2023, but he is that polished type of pitching prospect that he's on the younger side, but I think he's got the ability to climb a little quick. So that's definitely a guy to watch for sure moving forward, and probably the only guy in the top 10, and really not much beyond that besides Jose Budo,
Yeah.
to potentially be able to chip in next year at the big league level.